everybody, it's Jerry, and today I'm going to show you how to make a calzone. Now basically my process is almost exactly the same as making a pizza, so the fillings are pretty much the same, the dough is the same, and just going to fold it over instead of cooking it flat. So if you've seen my pizza video, this is going to be pretty similar. So anyway, let's get started.
We're going to start out by taking 5 Roma tomatoes and removing the cores, and then slice them in half and try to remove as many of the seeds as you can by just scraping them out with a knife. And then chop them up and place them in a saucepan. And we're going to add 3 cloves of chopped garlic, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and a cup of water, and salt to taste. And just heat this up over low heat and let it simmer for around an hour or so, or until most of the water is gone. Meanwhile, we're going to take 1/2 cup minus 1 tablespoon of water and 1 teaspoon of sugar, and heat that up over low heat until it reaches 105 degrees. And then turn off the heat and add in 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast, and just shake the pan a little bit just to get all of the yeast wet from the liquid, and just leave it for around 15 minutes. Meanwhile, we're going to take a bowl and add 1/2 cup of brown rice flour, 1/2 cup of millet flour, 1/2 cup of tapioca flour, and 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum. And add a little bit of salt if you desire, and then just mix that all up and form a little well in the center. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar and 1 tablespoon of olive oil, or you can use any oil you like. And then once the yeast mixture is ready, we're going to add that in as well. And mix that up. And beat it pretty vigorously with a fork for just a minute. And then we're going to add a little bit of cassava flour, just a little bit at a time, just enough to get it to kind of hold together like a dough, but we still want it to stay sticky, so don't go too far with adding the flour. You can also use tapioca flour instead of the cassava flour if you don't have that. So it should sort of hold a shape but still remain sticky. And then we're going to add a little bit more oil just around the edges. We want to kind of coat the dough with oil. So I'm just pushing it under the bottom with my fingers, and then just help sort of spread it around to the top, and just kind of flatten the dough out in the bowl. And then we're going to cover it with plastic wrap and let it sit for about an hour to proof. Now once our sauce is cooked down enough, we're going to put it in a food processor or blender and just process it until it's nice and smooth. And then put it back in the pot and just continue cooking it until it has the desired thickness that you're looking for. Should be just a few more minutes. Now we're going to saute our filling. In this case, I'm using shallots and mushrooms. So I'm just going to saute them for just a few minutes, just until they get softened. And this can be any filling that you like, whatever vegetables you want. Just have them cooked a little bit. And now I'm going to flour surface. I'm using, again, the cassava flour on some parchment paper. And I'm going to take the dough, which has been proofed, and just turn the bowl upside down onto the flour. And the dough should fall right out. And I'm going to flour a little bit more on top. And just with my hands, just shape it into a circle, which is the desired thickness. I'm going for about 1/4 of an inch thickness, maybe a little bit thinner. And then spoon on some of the sauce. And add your fillings. And then put some mozzarella cheese on top. Now this is Miyoko's liquid mozzarella. You could also use shredded mozzarella. And then just flip over the calzone onto itself to fold it in half. And make sure the edges are stuck together. You can use a fork. And then cut some slits with a sharp knife to let the air escape. And then I like to brush the top with a little bit more oil just to get it to brown a little bit. And bake it at 475 degrees for 15 minutes. Meanwhile, you can take your remaining sauce and put it in a container that you use for your dipping sauce, and you're ready to eat it.
Thanks everybody for watching, and please like and subscribe to the channel, and always put any suggestions for recipes you'd like to see, and I'll see you next time.